Okay, folks, today video is about feedback, and it's mostly to help buyers make the right decisions when buying from us as sellers, but it's also to show you, the seller, that just because you're not getting a lot of feedback shouldn't mean anything if you're making some money. I mean, not every buyer gives you feedback. They should, they don't, and I agree that they should, but it is what it is. So eBay's got the rules set on their feedback policy, and I just want to go over there and review that real quick. This part right here, why leave feedback? And quite honestly, I think they need to restate this in a different way, because they say leaving honest comments gives others, a good idea of what to expect when dealing with someone. Leaving feedback is also a way to express your appreciation. Finally, if you're a buyer, you can help spread the word about a seller you like, and if you're a seller, you can help recognize and reward loyal customers. Well, here's the deal. When I recognize loyal customers, those that come back and buy from me repeat, I give them either additional discounts, or I toss in a freebie like a knife, an extra knife, or a knife sharpener or something. That's how I reward, or I give them a 15% off coupon that's good over at our website. That's how I reward loyalty. The way the requirement is, as a seller, I have to give well, I don't have to, but when you give feedback to a buyer, you can't give them anything but positive. You get matter of fact, let's go look. I want to make sure that I'm not I can't give any feedback right now because I don't have anything to give feedback on. So I'm pretty sure it's still the way it used to be. You can only give positive feedback, yet the buyer has the option to punch you in the face or in the gut with a negative feedback or neutral, and without even coming to you first to say, hey, here, I had a problem with my purchase. What are you going to do to fix it? It's kind of opened up the door for fraudulent cases, for returns, or getting refunds. They use the feedback as an extortion. Some of them do. Some get away with it and some don't. So honestly, this why leave feedback, I think, is a load of crap on eBay, because you can't, as a seller, can't give anything other than positive. You can try to dispute negative feedback, but there's a way I'm going to show you down the road to kind of get even if you do get that one buyer that's just a dummy and just has it out to hurt people. Because I've seen some feedback on buyers that they get a negative feedback that they don't deserve, and it's because the buyer there's no way you're going to make this buyer happy, and he goes around pollinating all the feedbacks and other people that he buys from, giving him negative feedbacks. So now that I've got that off my chest, let's go ahead and just go through this thing now about the feedback, because I want to show you, as a seller, don't worry, and as a buyer, here's how you can check on your sellers. So we'll go ahead and use one of my accounts. Now, I've had this account up here since 2012. It's not been my main account. My main account that I started with was back in 2000. I've added some seller accounts and some buyer accounts. It's always good to have a buyer account to protect yourself, so there's no retaliation, because that happens sometimes with other sellers. They retaliate to get even for, I don't know, for whatever reasons they do it. But, I've seen it happen, and I've had it happen to me many years ago. So this one here, you would think, if you were a buyer looking at one of my products, you would look up there and see the feedback's 483. And I usually go and check the person's feedback, and you see that it's 100%. All right, well, but wait a minute, look at this. In the last month, there's only been 9 positive feedbacks given. Well, I mean, why should I be buying from this guy if he's only got 9 in a month? I mean, I see sellers that got thousands, hundreds, and thousands. Here's the deal. What you do is you check on this link right here, feedback left for others, because when you come to eBay, the feedback page, it's going to be already set to all feedback. So you're going to see a mix of everything. But here, if you click your seller, your potential seller, click their feedback left for others, and you can go ahead and look. I use the same generic. I'm not ashamed to admit, I'm lazy. So I've got a few same, like, cut and paste feedbacks that I give, and that's just what I do. Well, anyway, I counted this, and in the past month, I gave out 19 feedbacks in the past month, up to this last sale down here. But this one right here, I gave there's 19 from here up. I gave out 19 feedbacks, and yet, as a seller, now it says 9. I counted this out, and there's actually 10 in the last month. But I think they're only. I'm thinking they're only counting it one time. Is right here. When you have a person that buys, like this individual, he had a coupon that he was using, but eBay coupon wouldn't work right, so he bought twice. He really wanted 2, but he bought twice separately. So when I gave him his feedback, I mean, this only counts really as 1. There has to be like a week of separation between, like there would have been a week of separation between this sale right here and this sale right here in order for it to count as 2 separate. So just remember that when you're looking at feedback. But you'll see that there was only 9. You count them at 10. And like I say, you know, you go and you check as the what he's left for others. The other way to do this, and I'm going to show you, I think you're going to find this interesting to see if they've been selling at all or if it matches, is you go to view items for sale. So if we do that, it shows I've got 56 items for sale up on here. What I want you to do is look over to the left, right here in this area. If you click sold listings, it will show you 24 results. Now, out of this 24 results, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 sales. Okay, so like just look at that. 14 sales. I gave 19 feedbacks out of 14 sales for the past month, and I only received 9. Now, that might freak out some people, especially when you're starting out, but that doesn't bother me because here's the point. I really like these buyers to make their initial purchase from me so that I can give them a 15% discount coupon and they can come over to my website and buy. The whole point of using eBay is as a marketing tool. And the feedback does have a play in that, but basically it's your customer service. It's how well you respond, quickly you respond to your customer when they make the purchase, how fast you hit that contact buyer and let them know what's going on, and how fast you do the shipping. Okay? But I know I mentioned what happens when you get a rowdy feedback. Okay, you get a rowdy feedback. Or even if you got a really good feedback and you want to go even further with the customer. Let's just say I got a negative, and it said slow shipping, item terrible, not as described, broken, and you know that that's not true because you as the seller, you know how you ship. You know, you pack well and all. And the individual didn't come to you and talk, or they did and they said, well, if you don't give me the money back on this, I'm going to give you negative feedback, and say they didn't want to return the item. And you go, but I want the item back. You offer to pay shipping. He's like, he wants to keep the item because obviously there's nothing wrong with it, right? And then he threatens you with a negative, and then he gives you negative feedback. Well, there's one of two options. You can talk to eBay about it and get them involved in it as a case, and get them involved, and they will remove unwarranted negative feedback. Or you can scroll all the way down to where this page is on the feedback, and you see this section right here. What would you like to do next? Well, if you click leave feedback, that would be if you had more feedbacks to give. You could do that, or you could always do it from the drop down on the My eBay. The other thing you can do is you can click this reply to feedback received. So say, you had I don't know a nice way to say it. You just had a person that was just mean and nasty and gave you terrible feedback, and you click that link down there, and what it does is it opens up this page. And here's where you can respond. So say this individual had said, some pretty nasty things, and it, wasn't looking good. I would go over here and I would click reply. And then this tells you your options of why you do this. You can only leave it only once to a comment, and you can't edit it or retract it or retract your reply. So, you got to be really careful, and you want to keep it factual, avoid making personal remarks. Leaving a reply does not affect your feedback score or number of ratings. And if you have a dispute, contact your trading partner to try and resolve the dispute before replying. So say I work with a guy, I can't get him to agree to anything, and I can't get them to the trading partner to help me with it. Then I would use this as an option, and I would come in here and I get 80 characters to let everybody know he's an ass crack. Okay? I mean, that's it. In a polite, I mean, that's not really a polite way to say it. And, you know, I shouldn't be swearing like that, being a Christian and all. But you know what? I can't help it. There are people that are ass cracks. They just go through life miserable. They're not happy when everybody else is happy. The only time they're happy is when you're miserable. And then they give you bad feedback to make you miserable. So here's your one place in your mind, to try to make it right. And you could put in here, you know, I mean, I wouldn't put stuff like buyer's a douchebag, wouldn't return product, you know, blah, blah, blah. I would just say, tried to work out with buyer, the return package refused, gave feedback, unfair. You know, something like that. And then that would let a potential buyer know, hey, you know, I tried to get the item back, and I tried to make it right, but the guy's still being, you know, he's being a total douche, you know. So that's the and then you click leave, and then that's it. It's gone. All right. It's already up there. The other thing, when we look down at this page, is it says follow up to feedback left. So say you had a seller that was really cool and you wanted to do, say something nice. You can follow up on your, like here I says AAA plus buyer, fast payment, listen up sellers, this buyer's top shelf, thank you. You know, you can click the follow up and you can put anything you want in there. Buyer was great, easy to work with. You're welcome. Come back anytime. You know, you can. This is where I would use this as like the kudos, and for the ones that you want to have continue to be your repeat customers. So that's basically the feedback thing in a nutshell. All I can tell you folks is don't get caught up in this number right here. Matter of fact, don't even get caught up in this. Okay? You can look at a glance at someone's feedback and tell if they're totally on the up and up, if they're good, if they're a good seller, if they take care of their customers, or if they've had issues. I've bought from people that have had negative feedback that just come to find out it wasn't warranted or fair, you know, and I got great service from them. So just this video is mostly just to calm you as a buyer and calm you as a seller, calm you down. And remember one thing when doing feedback, and I had to learn this. It took me a couple of years in the very beginning, because it used to be feedback wars in the early days of eBay. I mean, anything went. Sellers could give negative, and they used it as retaliation for bad feedback. They used it for, you know, instead of using it as a tool, which it was supposed to be to let other sellers know, hey, you know, this guy's no good and all. Just calm down, take a deep breath, and think before you write it. You know, you don't have to give feedback right away. So, you know, maybe get out a notepad and use Note in your Word, or if you're in Pages, you know, on an Apple machine, on a Mac, and in Windows, you know, you've got Word, and open up a note and write down some feedback thoughts, and then just let it sit there for a day or two. Nothing says you got to give feedback right away. Nothing says you have to return a follow-up or a reply feedback like I showed you. You know, just write it, let it sit for a couple of days, and think about it. Just take a deep breath, breathe in, breathe out calmly, you know, and think about it, and think, you know, hey, what I do here is going to be a direct reflection on me as a seller, to future customers, to future clients. And the same thing as a buyer. If I say something bad and the seller then does the follow up or a reply, and it looks like we're just getting into a pissing contest. This could make me look bad in front of sellers, because trust me, anytime I look at an item and I see that seller and I see that they got into a pissing match with a bunch of people, and then I go check those buyers. I try to check those buyers, and you can't find them out by name, but you kind of can get an idea who they are. And what you do is, or you contact the seller. You know, you can contact the seller and say, hey, look, I saw you had some bad feedbacks, and I saw the same thing as you. I want to share who these people are because I'd like to block them, because you do have a blocking feature. Usually it's meant for blocking buyers that you've got that turn out to be, as I said before, ass cracks. But, you know, you can always converse with other sellers, and it's good to talk to other sellers, you know, about buyers and potential problems they've had, or if you see that they sell a product that you're selling and you've been getting hammered by this guy, you may want to give them a warning and say, hey, look, man, I got nailed by this guy for no reason. He did this, and that, or she did this, and that. I'm just giving you a heads up. You might want to block them, you know, and not have to go through the suffering that I did, you know, trying to deal with my trading partner and trying to get feedback straightened out, or trying to communicate with these people. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell for the feedback. I hope there was some decent information in here. I apologize for the swearing, but you know what? I can't help it. Sometimes people are just ass cracks, and, you know, don't let them affect your day, and just move on and stay focused, and you'll do well. You'll do okay. That's it for the video. Y'all have a blessed day, and I wish you many sales, and God bless you guys. Mike, Rollin Picker, out.